Alrighty, so we got Dirk here, finishing up. Well, actually, finished up a fat loss phase a couple of weeks ago, and now currently in a maintenance phase. Kind of give a little general background, dive into things.
Name's Dirk Vanderpool. Thank you, Jack. So I'm a sales executive out of Orlando, Florida area. I got two daughters, and I was just really at the time when we started working together, was really just looking for to get back in shape. I've been in great shape. I'm in my 30s now. I was like, man, like I got to get back to it, and I heard about you, and so here we are.
Yeah,
So.
and I think well, I'm looking at some numbers here real quick. We're gonna dive through before I get into things. I think we started out, was it 221 or two?
222. Yeah.
222, okay, 222, and now currently maintaining right around the 190 mark, right? Is that kind of where we've been
Yeah.
at the last couple weeks? So I
Yep.
mean, shoot, that's kind of awesome. 30 pounds down in about 6 months, and now be able to maintain it well on a month and a half now, I think, right? Is that when we started the diet break around June 28th? Is that correct?
Yeah, maintaining the weight. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And obviously making pretty substantial changes. But as far as kind of going back to day one, you mentioned kind of like looking to lose some weight. Like kind of what was that person identity like you felt back on day one, like versus now? Like how much of a shift have you seen in like obviously the weight's loss been great, but how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean the person on day one honestly was just out of balance. I was working and I still do, 55, 60, 70 hour weeks, had two kids, and I was sedentary. So if you can imagine somebody just like sitting at a desk, kind of hunched over, not really walking, not really working out, but knowing that they should be doing those things. They should be giving themselves that hour, 2 hours back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And then not eating right. I was like, whatever the standard American diet, cheeseburgers, French fries, pizza on a regular bit. Now I still eat those things, right? Occasionally, but like, but on a maybe too much.
Yeah.
And so I really was looking for somebody that could drive some accountability in my life and get me, laser focused on getting back in shape and looking the way that I feel like I deserve.
Yeah.
So.
Was there a specific catalyst? Like I'll sometimes have guys come to me like, oh, I went to my doctor and he mentioned like pre-diabetes or he mentioned high blood pressure. Was anything like a very specific catalyst, or is it kind of just like a I'm done with this moment?
Yeah, I mean, without going into specifics, there's probably two primary reasons. So the number one would be like having two daughters. You think about longevity, like,
Mhm.
your body, your health. It's more than like how do I look good with my shirt off? It's am I going to be able to live and sustain a healthy lifestyle for a very long time to take care of them, right? And
Yeah.
so that started to kind of weigh on me because I had some physical symptoms without going into specifics that I knew if I cleaned up my diet and I got back in shape, those would most likely go away.
Yeah.
And they did. Yeah, health was very important to me. And then longevity, having kids, you want to be around for your kids. So
Mhm.
for a very long time. And that starts in your 30s, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
and I think a big thing that you've mentioned in the past, I'm going to pull from is not only be like around, but be present and
yeah,
active and have a high quality of life, right? Because there's a difference between just being like alive versus being an active participant in your kid's life, right? And that was one thing you mentioned in the past where it's like, no, I don't want to just be there. I want to be like an active part. I want to be obviously a role model. I want to set the example. I want to be the intimidator when they start to date, whatever that might be, right? And have
yeah.
that as like an active participant, not just around, but capable physically and mentally of like, okay, I could not just here, but I'm fully present. That's a big thing too. I feel like you've mentioned in the past as well.
Yeah. And that's one of the huge benefits too, is like, people think working out and taking your diet seriously is there's a perception once you have kids that maybe that's selfish. I couldn't disagree more. I think if you're not in the best shape possible for your kids, you're not number one, you're not setting a good example. Number two, like you need to be healthy so you can get down on your knees, you can play with them, you can run with them, you're not running out of breath, you're healthy, like, you know, um, saying no to getting down there with the toys on the floor and playing with them because your back hurts when you could get in shape and that goes away. You got to take care of that. You have a
Yeah.
responsibility to your kids,
I
you
remember you
know?
can a couple wins throughout the program of like, oh, my daughter feels lighter now, or like
Yeah.
we're like carrying her, things like that, which just makes I think everyone just more appreciative of kind of like you showing up as like the man and leader and dad that you the best you can be, right? And that kind of thing too. You mentioned a little bit about diet as well early on. Like, what are some things that you noticed started to change when we started to work together? Like, aside from like the diet, was there anything else that you noticed were like kind of big shifts for you in terms of like habits or mindset?
Yeah, I think one of the some of the things that we did or built into the program really shifted my idea of what being a healthy adult was. So like I had a perception, obviously lots of protein, fruits, veggies, everyone kind of knows that, but there was little changes like, increased water intake, steps, things that, are maybe not as mainstream, but are starting to come out in the forefront of science and people are talking about that like make a huge difference. And it's funny, the goal was to get in physical shape, but mentally, your clarity is just razor sharp. You're walking every day, you're eating healthy, you're hydrated. And so you built a lot of that into the program. So it didn't really, funny enough, it was meant to get me in shape physically, but I also feel like there was a ton of mental benefits that came through in my personal and professional life. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it's
So
just harder to measure, right? Like we can
yeah,
measure the scale's easy, number goes down, yay, hooray. But like otherwise it's like 2% better focus at work every other week. Or like you can't measure it, but you can kind of feel it over time, right? That shift starts to happen and you start to realize, oh wow, like I was kind of in like a brain fog when I wasn't feeling my body right. Or like when I get
yeah,
5 hours of sleep instead of seven, I don't feel like I can get through my day. I need that nap in the afternoon. And you start to have that better food, that better fuel, and then it kind of just like a body motion stays in motion. And I think the brain kind of benefits from that too. I've seen studies again and again and again from like 2,000 steps sedentary to 8,000 steps. Just every risk of all cause mortality decreases. Our brain cognitive function benefit like increases and has benefits. It's just so much to our physical health. I think it's all connected too. Like I hate the idea of like, oh, I'm a holistic medicine coach, but like it's all kind of connected, right? Your brain, your
yeah,
body, your gut, everything. It does truly have an impact on how we kind of function as a human being and how we see ourselves. So by improving our physical body, it also kind of gives you a little bit of like self-confidence, self-esteem back. You're like, I can do hard things. Like I
yeah,
can overcome this barrier that I've had for years or whatever it is. And then it's like, oh, then all of a sudden you're staying a little bit taller, walking taller, feeling more confident at work, whatever it might be, because you've done this hard task that you can't
yeah,
inherit, you can't buy, you can't borrow. Like you and you alone, which I think is the coolest part about health and fitness, have to earn it. So it's kind of like a certain stature, a certain status symbol because you can't buy it, right? A Rolex could be gifted, a new car
yeah.
or whatever it is could be inherited, right? But like a true fit body and like fit mind is something that you know someone worked for. And it's kind of an automatic status symbol you kind of get to walk around with all the time too.
Yeah, it's it's the greatest meritocracy, right? Because it's like you're only gonna look the way you treat yourself. So you're not gonna be in shape if you don't treat yourself with a certain amount of input, like you have to do the right things. And so
For sure.
I totally agree. I think one of my favorite things about your program, Jack, was like it was client outcome driven rather than a one size fits all approach. So like I did look, at other programs before choosing you, other trainers, and it always felt like this is kind of like, hey, Dirk, this is what I do, so just do everything I do, exactly the same. And
Hmm.
it was like, well, for somebody like me with two kids, a busy schedule, like that's just not going to work. And so you right from the beginning, you're like, hey, we're going to do a consultation. We're going to see what workout program and days fit your schedule. We're going to build out your meal plan. We're going to talk about the things you like and don't like. And it was all customizable. And it was about me as the client and the value you were bringing to me. Like that to me was amazing. And that's a big differentiation for you and your program as opposed to some of the other people I have looked into, I'll be honest.
I
So
appreciate it. Yeah, and that's a big thing as far as because obviously, like I'm in a different position. Like I cannot wait to be a dad. I cannot wait to start a family. But I have the time, and it's kind of part of my job to be in the best shape I possibly can. Right. So I kind of have to almost rely on amazing clients like you to prove, like, hey, like what I do is not just like what I do or what you have to do when you're. I'm 28 now, but like I don't feel like it by any means, luckily. But like when you're younger and have all the time in the world, right? Like majority of my clients are in your similar position, right? Upper
yeah,
level in their corporate career or whatever it is, with lots of hours going in at work, being a provider, being there present for your family, but also like, okay, like something's kind of fallen up by the wayside during that process. And let's bring that back to the forefront and kind of be able to pour from a full cup rather than an empty one. Like, 'cause you mentioned, like it seemed like, oh, maybe you thought this process might be a little bit selfish. But I think you kind of realized like in order to be the best version of yourself and give that to your wife, your kids, your work, you kind of have to be a little bit selfish at times, but realize how much that also then benefits them kind of by default, right? Because it's only like a trickle down effect. You take care of yourself, you're in really good shape, you're feeling great, then you kind of pour that into everything else that you do, whether it be work, family, relationships, things like that.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the family again, like, because initially there was like a reaction, like, wow, how are we going to balance this, from the family, right? How are we going to balance this? How are we going to do all this? And then by the end of the program, it was just like, well, wow, we're all eating healthy because the only thing you're buying is fruits, veggies, meat, healthy carbs. You're buying a lot of food that we enjoy, but it's all healthy, right? And
Yeah.
so by default, we eliminated all the things that were bad in the house,
Mhm.
with a few exceptions for like treats or date nights or
Yeah, of
whatever. And
course.
then everyone else got healthier. So like unintentionally,
Yeah.
my family was losing weight or getting clearer skin or getting healthier just because of the food that I was bringing into the house.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see that and then to see
Yeah.
everyone kind of be like, wow, that benefited us too.
Yeah, no,
So
it's awesome. It is that thing where someone has to start it, right? Whether it be within your friend group or your family. And when you're the one to do it, you kind of see them also kind of like not only like getting on board, but also like supporting you. But then you also see how like them supporting you is kind of changing their own health and fitness too, even if it's in small ways that might not be measured like like we do when we are working together on our program. You can like see the small things that happen. And luckily, you're not the only one that said that. I've had lots of guys like, yeah, like my wife, like she didn't need to lose weight, but she lost a little bit of weight. She's looking amazing. Or yeah, my
yeah,
youngest son is asking to go to the gym with me, or whatever it is. Like those little things that people pick up on, but like it wasn't your intention at the start, but it's kind of like a unsung like benefit of the program and of you taking care of yourself as well.
yeah, yeah, it really was. And I'm it's game changing because what I learned in the program will stay with me. It's gonna continue. And so you pick up all these good habits, and then it's just kind of built into the DNA of your day, your week, and it almost becomes second nature after a while, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I love it.
your new default is healthy versus maybe like back when, yeah, at the start of the program, you're like, yeah, like I don't feel like things are that off. And now you're like, oh wow, they were pretty far off. And
Yeah.
that's a great thing too, because it almost like nothing happens immediately. And although I know we kind of talked about how good you feel now at the end of the cut, and that's probably pretty quick, but sometimes like as people get out of shape, it kind of happens pretty slowly over time. They don't realize like over time they just add 5 pounds a year. That's nothing. Oh, but then 20 years later, up 40 pounds, it's like, oh wow, that could be a lot, right? So little
Yeah.
things like that. But is there anything you feel like that's like one or two things that you like wouldn't believe you would be able to achieve back when you were like starting the program?
Um,
Or not believed like was possible.
I was shocked. There was two things. So number one, I was shocked at how good I felt after losing the weight.
Mm,
I was shocked. Everything that I thought was, oh, this is because I'm in my 30s now, pretty much went away. Every symptom, every ache, every pain, like, you know, without getting into specifics, it's all gone. And I feel pretty much the same as I did in my mid 20s.
hell
So
yeah.
that's amazing. Um, the other thing was one of the lifts in the gym. Um, I didn't think I could get that strong while in a deficit, but consistently lifting with the approach we took, which was progressive overload, and he's saying, every week your goal is to go up a few pounds, 8 to 10 reps, or, there was differences per set, but we'll use that as a benchmark.
Yeah.
At how strong I got by the end of the program and still am, even while in a deficit, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
I think honestly, more than anything, it's a credit to your consistency. Like it was you being able to be like, okay, hey, like although yes, I am in a deficit, my goal is fat loss. I'm not sacrificing the intensity or the time at the
yeah,
gym, right? You're still making that a major priority. Although, yes, like technically, first goal number one, reduce the body fat, right? Get healthy, but at the same time, people can do that without having intensity in the gym, without staying consistent in the gym, right? But you were able to then stay consistent in the gym, continue to support your body through high protein recovery, following the program, not overdoing it, not trying to lose 20 pounds in a month, right? Doing
yeah.
things the right way and staying true to the program, kind of trusting me in the process. and then you just went and executed, and that's why, right? It's kind of having that a balance of being like, okay, yes, like I want things to happen as fast as possible, but sometimes fast isn't always best, right? And realize,
Yeah.
okay, if I want to do things the right way and get to the point where we are now, like I'm sure if I told you, hey, like 6.5 or 7 months ago, wherever it was, like, hey, like this is what we're gonna look like and we're gonna feel like, but you gotta do this thing. You're like, maybe okay, like, but and now you've experienced, you're like, okay, shit, like this is possible. Like I know that I can make this happen, which is awesome. And I think it's something to experience it versus being told what you'll like actually feel. And then once you feel it, you're like, okay, like I believe in this and trust it, which is awesome.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And it's shocking. Like you expect results, but you just don't even realize that over time, how they compound and what you're going to look like at the end of it, how good you're going to feel and what you're going to look like. And it's kind of difficult when you've been out of shape for as long as I had. It's kind of difficult to imagine. Um, but like you said, there's no like, hey, black coffee and starvation for a month. It's like, no, we're going to do the right things over an extended period of time and we're going to trust your process, your coaching, and that's how we're going to get to the end goal. There's no quick fixes. Like this is a lifetime lifestyle change. This isn't a quick fix.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And kind of last question would be, obviously you got to go here in a minute, but if there's one thing you could say to someone, I guess whether it be your past self or someone else kind of in your position when you started of like thinking about signing up for a program or starting their transformation, like what would you tell someone or what would you tell your past self when you started the weight loss?
oh man, just don't wait. Don't wait. Because I wanted to do this years ago, and I just kept waiting, saying pushing it off. And there's never a better time other than right now. Just do it.
Yeah.
Sign up for a program if you've been thinking about getting in shape and you have the funds to do so. Yeah, go ahead and take the leap because it pays off big time.
Yeah.
So.
Best time was yesterday. Next best time is today.
100%. Yeah.
Awesome, Dirk. Well, I appreciate you, man. We'll go ahead and end the interview here. Let's keep chatting for a second.